Go.
Hey, hello, good morning, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg. Our theme for this year is 2020 Spiritual Vision, and it's now October, and our theme for this month is Cosmic Connections, and the title of our talk today is Just Like Me. Right now, we will open our sacred space together, setting our intentions for our service and bringing our awareness of our unity and oneness, which is represented by this one lit candle. Let us close our eyes now as we bless our service today. Let us recognize the divine presence that moves through all things and know that this presence of love expresses as each of us in unique and beautiful ways. I know that we are blessed in this time together and that we will each be renewed in our remembrance of love, peace, wholeness, and connection. I give thanks for everyone in attendance and everyone who made our service possible today. May the energy of love that is generated here bless us all abundantly, and so it is. Please feel free to add in the chat or in the comments any prayer requests that you would like to be included later on in our service when we practice our spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of infinitive prayer. We now turn to blessings and contributions and donations that are shared with us today for our center. And there are so many ways that you can give. At CSL Leesburg, we believe that in the law of circulation, and we know that all is shared with our center will bless all of those who give and who receive. We are a tithing community, and in addition to helping us pay our expenses, which continue even though we aren't meeting in person, we also tithe to our home organizations, as well as to our organizations that inspire us and help to further our vision of helping create a world that works for everyone. And we thank you for your support. Now let us read this affirmation together. And apparently, there's something happening on the street in front of my house. And our affirmation is, here we go. All right, please feel free to read along with me. And the presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And as you can see on our screen, if you would like to make a donation or contribution to our community, please remember that we are a tithing community. You can text your donation amount to 703-940-9620. You can use Cash App, you can use PayPal, and we're also showing our mailing address if you prefer that method. And now we will move on to our time of meditation.
Thank you, Tamara, and your sweet puppy dogs joining us for service today. The joys of at-home service, right? So it's so good to be together. And we're just going to spend some time in metta practice and loving kindness practice. So you'd like to just close your eyes if you choose to, or you can keep them open with a soft gaze if that's more comfortable for you. So we're just going to spend a few minutes focusing on our breath. Taking a nice deep breath in and breathing down into your body, allowing that breath to anchor you in this present moment. So let us just spend a moment in silence, using whatever form of focus you choose to in your meditation practice. So it could be focusing on your breath, or if you have your eyes open, a visual cue, a candle, or something in your physical space, or it might be a mantra, whatever you choose to focus on for just a minute or two as we bring our awareness to this present moment. And now let's just move our attention to that heart space. Just feeling into the warmth of that space. You might want to bring forth an image of something or someone that you just love unconditionally. Allow that image to drop down into your heart space where it radiates a sense of love, connection, warmth. And if you can, just try to allow that energy of love to just ripple out into your physical being. Just notice your whole being filled with this unconditional love. Now we're just going to do some loving kindness or metta practice where we wish ourselves well. So let's bring forth an image of yourself if you can, however that is. Just place that image of yourself in front of you with this sense of unconditional love radiating out. Just say to yourself or out loud if you are in a space to do that. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. With those words and that blessing, that prayer, just sink into your whole being. And let's just say it one more time, again, bringing yourself into focus as you say these words, like you're looking in a mirror. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. And now bring forth an image of someone you love, someone you're close to, or several people. It could be your family, connection, your friends. And just bring them forth in your mind's eye in front of you. And as you do this, again, touch into that feeling of love, tenderness, compassion, and say to them, either in your mind or out loud, may you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. Breathing in again and just feeling that love and compassion. Let us just say it one more time to these beloveds that are in front of you. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. And allow that image, those people to move aside, and let's bring forward someone that there isn't a real connection with, that there's, you don't have a real sense of love, but there's not any anger towards anybody. It's just maybe somebody, imagine, next to you in the car while you're driving, or maybe a clerk at the grocery store. Might be one of your neighbors, or just an anonymous person that you might contact throughout the day. It's so good for us to bring forth all beings as we do this practice. And so whatever symbol that is for you, bring that person forward. And again, we're just going to bless them. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. And one more time. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. And as you just continue to fill yourself up with this loving kindness, you might bring forward somebody that you feel challenged by in this moment. This is completely optional. Whatever is safe and comfortable for you. It could be somebody in your personal life that you've been having a challenge with, or it could be a public figure. But just know that this is an option for you in this moment if you feel like you can. And you can change the words to the blessing if that is more comfortable for you. But this is just an opportunity, this sense of loving kindness that we wish to move out into the world. And so in a safe way, you can bring that person, maybe it's a picture of them. Maybe it's just the energy. And if you choose, you can say these words, or again, change the words if these aren't comfortable for you. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. Again, just taking a nice deep breath. And if you choose to, again, maybe it's another person or the same. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. Take another deep breath in, breathe down at that heart space, feel that love and compassion. Now let's just bring our beautiful earth to the center of our attention and all those who inhabit it, all life forms. Feel into that compassion and that love that you feel for humanity and life itself. And let's just say, may we be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be well. And just one more time, again, connecting into that compassion and that love, that interconnection that we have with each life form, humanity itself, animal kingdom, plants, the beautiful earth, all of us, all of us. May we be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be well. And let's just return to your own expression of this compassion, this love, as we come back into our space, taking a nice breath in, wiggling your fingers and your toes, feeling into that heart space as you go forward today and onward, connecting with that loving compassion that's within us. And so it is. Thank you. That's Reverend Melissa Felipe, one of our CSL ministers, the originator of that song that we're all familiar with. We were blessed in our ministers gathering, CSL ministers gathering. We had a great group of ministers who were also musicians, yes, who created these wonderful music videos. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to get to hear quite a few of them, and you'll get to see the ministers who have musical talent. I'm not one of those, but we have quite a few in our movement. So today, October, our theme for this month is cosmic connections. And today we're talking about this idea of just like me, which I'm going to get to in a few minutes. I do want to just acknowledge this week that we've had. Once again, seems like every week I come with another challenge of where we are, and especially in the United States, which is where we are. And of course, the beginning of the week, we saw the presidential debate, which was, I think, highly traumatic for many people. It was an event that was unlike something we haven't seen. And I have to say, at the very least, the President of the United States refused to disavow white supremacy, and at the worst, endorsed violence at our voting booths. So we just keep that in our hearts and be aware. But of course, this was overshadowed by the president's diagnosis along with his many staff members and family, senators, consultants that they have been diagnosed with COVID. And so, of course, this is a huge issue for us in our country, and I wish him health along with the approximately 55,000 people that were diagnosed on the same day that he was, and diagnosed each day since. So I hold a vision that all of us in our country are afforded the quality of care needed to survive and to be healthy. And it's a stark reality that most likely a good majority of those 55,000 and nor the 210,000 people who have already lost their lives do not have the access to the quality of care that is now being provided to a privileged few who have been diagnosed over the last few days. So I have to say that this hurts my heart, and I have anger over it, and I am disturbed by the recklessness of the president and his administration, and exasperated by the misinformation that makes many of us distrust our very own government and the information that we're getting. I feel exhausted and I feel vulnerable. And I have concerns about how this affects our election and our country. And I'm sure that I'm not alone, and that I'm experiencing quite a mixed bag of emotions right now. And what I know I need in this moment, what would be very supportive, is clarity and trust and connection, and to feel like I belong and to matter and to be heard. And again, I don't think I'm alone in that. And I think it's very powerful for us to name our feelings and our needs. And it's good for us to share these feelings and these concerns with each other. And it's good to be able to speak about it. And I know that as a minister in this movement, sometimes we can hesitate to show that human side of us because we've been taught to go straight to the good. But I have to say, and if you've been a part of my ministry or my community, you know that that's not really what I do. From the very beginning of my ministry, I've really championed the importance of allowing our emotions and our feelings. And I remember early on, I was a brand new minister. I had just moved across country from Colorado to Washington, D.C. I was a brand new minister, senior minister of a center, and alone. I'd come by myself, and I was feeling a lot of stuff, and I was in my new office, and one of my new practitioners came in and asked how I was doing, and I shared in that moment some, I don't even know what it was that I was experiencing, but I just remember I was sharing with her kind of my feelings, what was going on with me. And she went straight to, well, let's think happy thoughts. What is it that we can know that are happy thoughts? And I said to her in that very moment that it's okay for me to have these feelings and these emotions, and you don't have to deny them, and I'm not afraid of them. We can move through them, and it's okay. And of course, we know that now. I think we've come a long way, and we talk about spiritual bypass and not using our truth, our spiritual truth, to bypass the emotions and the feelings that we were coming up, and that we can know our spiritual truth. I can know at a very deep level my spiritual truth of who I am, and yet still experience these very human emotions and experiences, and that we don't ignore those things when as humans and in our movement. But I have to say that in all the years I've been in this ministry, it's gotten better. And yet, even just this last week, being, encouraged to think positively or go to that happy place. And I say that, that there's a place for that, and we do get there. But at the same time, it's just important for us to be able to acknowledge our feelings and our needs. And when we do that, it creates a resonance within our brain to create less stress and calm within us. So I believe that Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, was a man of science. I'm amazed when I read some of his works of how how progressive he was and how much he knew at the beginning of the last century about quantum physics and psychology, psychiatry. And I think he would be so interested in the new discoveries of neurobiology and neuroscience. I think he would be so interested in what we're learning uh, about systemic racism and about the patriarchy and how that plays a role. It can play a role in the ideas that we teach and that he was uh, susceptible to. And I think he would be completely on board, completely on board. And so it's up to those of us that are moving forward to remember that this idea of us being open at the top, which Dr. Holmes talked about, is that there'll be people that come along that know more, that have more information, and we can't deny that. We can't not include this new information. And uh, so I'm role modeling this for you, how to how to share your emotions and your feelings with each other. And I've been reading the book by Susan Payton. She's written a book called The Resonant Self, and she talks about the neurobiology of our self-talk, our self-love, of resonant loving language, and how we talk to ourselves and how good that is for our brain and how we talk to each other. And she talks about the patriarchy. And I want to just read what she says because it's important. It's relative to what we're talking about today. She says that, many of us hear the term patriarchy and imagine we are speaking of the system that upholds the oppression of women. But patriarchy affects more than just women. Patriarchy is a system that targets vulnerability itself, vulnerability in self and others, using disgust directed towards others or to the self to make interdependence and vulnerability wrong. That's a really huge point, that it makes this interdependence and this vulnerability that I just shared in this moment wrong. Cultural systems, especially those of us in the United States, Susan Payton goes on and says, are actively based on separation and independence, a belief that we are stronger and more successful when we accomplish things alone. The lone hero is the myth that runs deep. So this is why beholding, celebrating, and knowing the truth of our interdependence is dangerous to the patriarchy. Vulnerability allows us to see how we are connected and woven, whether we like it or not. Most of us who have been raised in Western Europe or in the US are adept at independence because we've been deeply coached with this as our norm. And so I share that with you because I think sometimes in our teaching, we're very coached in that as well, that we talk about our power, our independence, how it's about our use of the law, of our use of these teachings. And it can leave out this sense of interdependence, of connection. And though we talk about oneness in our movement, it's usually about our connection to the divine, our connection to the divine, and not necessarily the interdependence with each of us. And so there's a resistance to share in each other's sadness or grief, or an unwillingness to allow ourselves to go there. It cuts us off from these supportive relationships. And it turns out it isn't healthy for us or our brains. So I want to share with you a little bit about what Susan Payton says about why it's important of naming our emotional experiences, like I just did earlier. And she says, because it brings calm and peace by reducing cortisol and creating a mothering relationship between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. The amygdala is that part of our brain that is always searching for things that are unsafe, for dangers, and the prefrontal cortex actually can help soothe it. So it allows for emotional self-regulation, helps people feel more secure in the world and know that they belong and have a good place. Have a good place. So she says that long-term benefits of meeting ourselves with warmth include improving our immune system functions, growing a sense of meaning and purpose in life, gaining resiliency in the face of trauma, of depression, of post-traumatic stress. And so there's a lot of value in us being able to create this resonance of naming our emotions, our feelings, and our needs. And when we do that with curiosity, it develops these skills. So to be able to be curious about what's going on for ourselves and others is so important in this. And it's so important for us because we need each other. We need we are so much more powerful when we are empathetic and we are supportive and we're loving with each other. James Cohen, the psychologist, um, has done a lot of studies around this, around empathy and connection. And one of his very first ones he did is that he would put people in an MRI scanning, and he would be scanning the brain in this MRI. And I guess these people agree to this, that they would put an ankle bracelet on the ankle that could administer a little shock. And so Charlene's going, no, didn't do it. For the good of everybody, somebody else did this for you. Uh, uh, so, so we did three different ways. He had someone go in to this MRI and be alone, no one's around them, and they'd shock them, and the brain would register pain. And then he would have someone go into the MRI, but he would have a nurse or somebody that was just there, not somebody that was emotionally connected, but just a person there holding their hand or being a presence there. And when they shocked them, there was less pain. And then they would bring in somebody that was a loving presence, somebody that had a real connection with this person. And when they were in there and they shocked them, the brain didn't register pain. And so just having a loving presence, having somebody there can reduce our trauma just by having that loving presence. And again, that kind of comes back around to why it's important that we have community and connection, because it actually soothes us and boosts our immune systems and creates ease within us. So it's interesting though, because there's a difference between resonance and reassurance. And I think that that's sometimes what's happened when, I know as a mother, my kids come in to me and they're upset about something. The first thing I want to do is just reassure them. And don't we say it's going to get better, it's going to be all right, we're going to get through this. And that can be a very warm and loving thing to do, to give someone reassurance. But the studies show is that it doesn't help the brain. It doesn't do anything. It might make you feel just a little bit better, but it actually doesn't do anything. And so, what Susan Payton says is that when we give resonance, when we use resonant language, which is about bringing the right brain into the conversation, the left brain is about doing things and finding fault and getting things done. And so that language is going to be okay, or, let's keep going forward, or think of something happy. That's a very left brain thing. When we bring the right brain in, the right brain is very relational and it's very connected. And so if we can have resonant language where we acknowledge the feelings, acknowledge the needs, then it calms our brain down. It actually calms our brain down, and it helps us feel the sense of resonance that creates less stress, that creates connection, that builds our immune system, that brings us more satisfaction. So it kind of it can kind of feel like it's counterintuitive to be able to speak these things, to feel these needs, or to be able to acknowledge them in another. But it's actually creates this resonance which soothes our brains. And I think that it can happen. The whole title of this talk today is Just Like Me, and it can happen when we connect with others and realize that we're not alone, that we are connected, that other people are going through exactly the same things that we are. And I think it's funny. And this is a Buddhist tradition. This Just Like Me, where you see somebody and you realize that person is just like me, that they have challenges, that they have fears, that they, all those things. And oftentimes it's meant to use with people who you might be having a challenge with, or not feeling too connected with, or might be angry with, or not understand. And so this idea of looking at somebody and taking that into heart and saying, just like me, they have challenges, just like me, they want to be loved, just like me, they have fears, that can really help us create this resonance and this connection. But I think it can be really powerful in a positive way too. Many years ago, when I lived in Arizona with my kids and Robert, I went to the state fair with my kids. And it was a day, it was a homeschool day. There was all these field trips, and there was a group of kids there that had a variety of different disabilities, and they were all together in a group and moving through at the same time we were moving through. And I was watching my kids. They were up on a ride, and I was kind of just standing there waiting and watching. And all of a sudden, I heard this young man standing next to me, and he was talking to me, and I didn't realize it at first. But I looked over, and he said, "Hey," says, "you're making a triangle just like me." And I looked at him, and I realized that I had my hand on my hip, and so I was making a shape of a triangle with my arm, and he was too. And he was so excited to make that connection. He's like, "Hey, you're making a triangle just like me." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I am." And then I looked away, and I kind of got distracted, and I heard him say, "Hey, you're crossing your arms just like me." And he was so excited that he found this somebody that he could resonate with, that was like him, that we were, doing the same thing, and we had this connection. And it was a sweet moment that I've remembered all these years. But I think that's true for all of us. That when isn't it that way when we see somebody that's like us, that's doing things like us, or being like us, or even sharing our challenges or what we're feeling, that it creates this resonance, that we're not alone, that we're connected, that we have this connection. And so this idea of focusing on realizing that others are just like me. It can be something that we do when we are challenged by an experience with somebody, and trying to find that compassionate, empathetic heart. But it also can be finding those people that are just like us, that are going through the same challenges or the same celebrations, the same ideas. And that's when we come to this place of really connecting with the oneness of who we are, and the oneness with each other, and that can bring some ease and grace and love to each other. Dwayne Elgin says this. He says, "When we discover that all beings are part of the seamless fabric of creation, it naturally awakens in us a sense of connection with and compassion for the rest of life. We automatically broaden our scope of empathy and concern when we realize that we are inseparable from all that exists. We no longer see ourselves as isolated entities whose being stops at the edge of our skin, and whose empathy stops with our family or our race or our nation. We see that because we all arise simultaneously from a deep ocean of life energy, a vital connection always exists among all beings." And that's the beauty of our teaching. That's the truth that can never be changed, that we can relax into, that we can know, is that there's this divine presence that moves through all of us. And what's so beautiful is that when we name those emotions, those feelings, those needs, that gives us a clue of what then we align ourselves with, then what it is that we pray for, that we treat for, that we bring forward for ourselves. So when I said that I was feeling this frustration and this concern and this overwhelm, and what I need is clarity and trust and honesty and connection and belonging, and to matter and to be heard, all those things gives us all the clue of what there is for us to pray for, to have that mental equivalent, to know that that divine presence is there to create and meet these needs, that we are valuable to be able to have these needs met within our lives, within our families, within our communities, within our country, within our world. And so that's my quest for you today, is to think about what is it you're feeling in this moment, and being honest with what it is that I'm feeling in this moment, and what are the needs that would help that sense of whatever that feeling is. And if you want to search for different needs and feelings, you can go to Martin Rosenberg's nonviolent communication. There's some really great lists of feelings and needs. And so let's just do this now. Let's just, in our prayer time together, let's just close our eyes and just feel into the feelings in this very moment, and not be afraid of them, but to be really just connected with, and knowing that there's this beautiful resonance of love in this group that we're in this morning, that we can really just feel into those and those needs. And as I said, my needs are a need for clarity and honesty and trust and connection and belonging. And so let's just go into this place, into our prayer. as you feel into what it is that you are experiencing this moment, and just hold those feelings and needs as I move us into this time of treatment and prayer. And so it is true that there is one power, one presence, that this life, this energy, this force moves in and through all things, and it moves in and through me in this very moment, that I am that expression of love and light and power and presence. These are all the qualities of the divine that I experience and I express within myself. And I know that that truth is also resonating with and in and through each person by the sound of my voice, whether in person today or on Facebook or YouTube or in future times when someone might be listening to this prayer. I know this truth for you, for each of you, that there is this divine presence that guides and loves and expresses each of us. And so I know that it's okay in this moment to speak forth and to know that there is a sense of trust in our universe, that I claim and know that I feel loved and protected, and that I can trust the words that are coming from those in leadership, that I belong, that I belong. And I know this is true for each person here, that each person matters in their own way. And whatever those needs are in this moment, you can speak them out. You can claim them for yourself. You can know that they are a way to manifest in your life. So this is what I know for each of us, that we are manifesting that which we need because we're expressing that who we are. And I know that we reach out for support and love among each other and connect and know that those that we might be challenged with are also experiencing needs and moving through their own challenges of life. And so we can just envelop this whole experience with love and light and peace and wholeness. I know this is true for those who've put names into our ministry of prayer, who've spoken out. I know that there is divine health for Mark in this very moment, that he is a beloved expression of God. I know all of those who are challenged with the COVID infection are lifted up, being cared for, being loved and supported. I know that our nation is a place of healing and wholeness and sanity. I'm so grateful for this truth, to be able to speak it out, to be human and yet still stand in the truth of our divinity, our perfect expression of who we are. And so this is the truth that I know, that I speak this word into that law that is always working for us. I let it go, I let it be, and so it is.
We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Sing out now, we are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. And louder now, we are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Sing joy now. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are sisters joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. Sing peace now, we are brothers, we are sisters joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in peace. Little louder now, we are brothers, we are sisters joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Last time, love, we are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. And at last time, we are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Everybody sing joy together. Oh, joy together. Oh, joy together. Oh, joy. Join together, together in love. Join together, together in love. Join together, together in love. Join together, together in love.
Yeah, wow, that's wonderful. That is the CSL Minister music team from our gathering, put together by Reverend Doug LeBeau, and that was Reverend Donna Michaels with all the bevy of wonderful CSL ministers who I love and adore. So we get to be treated by some of their music. All right, so for our announcements, our CSL Leesburg annual meeting will be on October 18th via Zoom right after our service. So if you're a member, please join us, and we're going to be talking about our past year, looking towards the future, talking about our budget, electing. We have 2 spaces that are open. Our beloved Kristen Frangie, who's been our president of our leadership council, and has completed 2 terms. The first one to complete 2 terms. She's been on our leadership council from the very, very beginning. Yeah, she's termed out, so she's going to step down, and I think Tamara is eligible for a 2nd term to run. So we're looking for at least 1 person within our community who would be interested in joining our leadership team for this next year. And if you have questions about that, please see me or any of our leadership council members. And we're going to come together right after the service, after our little connection time on 2 weeks from today on October 18th. And so Nina Gibson, our friend from Unity of Fairfax, is continuing to promote the Unity Halloween virtual walk, and you can find more information at Unity of Fairfax about that if you're interested in supporting some good causes and getting some exercise and doing some good work. So join them for that if you're interested in doing that. And we are continuing our there I am, continuing with our weekly offerings, our dream group on Tuesdays with Charlene, and then mindfulness meditation on Thursday mornings, just for half an hour, from 9 to 9:30. We gather together collectively to do our meditation, and so those are some offerings that we continue throughout this time. And I think that's it. So blessings to all of you. If you want to come and join us on Google Meet, you can find that link on our website, cslleesburg.org. And we're going to share our pearls and have some community connection time. So blessings to all of you. Let's do our final affirmation. Just place your hand over your heart. Just say, I am love. Open your eyes. And if you see anybody, or just imagine you were love, you were love. And let's all just know this together. It is all love. As we spend some love sprinkles across the world. Until we see you again, blessings and love. Have a great rest of your day and week.